What's up guys, Quinn here. So as a teacher with 6 large aquariums of over 430 total gallons of water, the most common question that I am asked, how do I keep my fish alive over the long breaks, such as spring break, summer break, Thanksgiving break, and now winter break? So unlike my friend Oscar here, the bearded dragon who is the teacher next door's pet, I am unable to bring my fish home over break. So I'm here to show you how I keep my fish alive with over 18 days of no contact. So what do you think, Oscar? Should we? Let's dive right in. So just a quick backstory on Oscar here. He is an adult bearded dragon. He loves to just kind of hang out on you like this and even kind of check out the fish behind me. So he's a hilarious little guy and definitely a classroom favorite. So it's January here and we just got back from winter break. Winter break is arguably the toughest break for me because it is typically 2 full weeks. So that it is a long time that I'm not at school to keep any type of eye on my fish. However, this break was even harder because we had actually a snow day on the Friday before break, which made this break 18 total days of me not being in my classroom. So definitely the easy answer for how to keep care of your fish over breaks is to just pop into your classroom every 1 or 2 days just to feed them and check on things. However, for me, I live in the city of Chicago and I teach in the south suburbs of Tinley Park, which is about a 40-minute drive. So that's not ideal for me and definitely want to save money with gas over breaks. So I tried to do it as remote as possible and I've been pretty successful. So I'm gonna go through the whole process of how I prepare the tanks before I leave for break to be self-sufficient over the whole 18 days. And then the uneasy feeling as I come back after break with just hope that everything worked out and all my fish survived. So the number one thing that I need to do before break is get my tanks in the absolute best condition possible. And that means 75% water changes for all. This can be quite the process with 6 tanks. Luckily, I have 2 pythons running concurrently to help speed up the process. I also clean the glass and any other parts of the tank that aren't in top shape. I try to fill the aquariums back up to the absolute brim due to the evaporation that will occur over the next 2.5 weeks. I'm sure to add a little more Chem Prime to the tank than normal, along with something that I think really helps, aquarium salt. Adding dosages of aquarium salt to your aquarium can help with a variety of things. Salt has electrolytes, which help improve gill function of the fish and just overall health. I also like to clean any filters that haven't been maintenance in the past month. The aqua clears were due for a cleaning this go around. You definitely don't want to do this part the last day before break, just in case any part of the filter would have any mechanical problems after the cleaning, which has happened to me before. Filter failure is the #1 biggest fear when leaving your aquariums for a long period of time, so definitely don't mess around with that. So, if you're looking for an auto feeder expert, you have come to the right spot.
My boy's wicked smart.
I've used many different types, many different brands of auto feeders over my last 5 years in this classroom. I've had to try to figure out which is the best auto feeder on the market because I'm constantly in and out of my classroom over these breaks. So I've definitely narrowed it down to the Eheim auto feeder. So this is definitely the most simplest to use and I just think it's the most reliable. The other one that I've used in the past that I've kind of liked is the Zacro one. I've got this on Amazon. It's very similar to the Eheim where it just twists open with a little slit. Problem is that it is a rechargeable machine. Also, you have to stick it onto the lid, which makes it permanent. And I don't like having auto feeders whenever I'm currently in the classroom. So I like just having this nice little portable guy that I can just plop on the tank and feed the fish. All right, so the main thing you want to do when you're setting up the Eheim auto feeder here, you got the clock display here, and then at the top, the first feeding in 1 arrow means that it's going to twist 1 time. 2 arrows mean it'll twist twice. You can make it multiple different times of the day. I just do it at that 1 time, unless I'm using small flakes, or small pebbles, should I say, and I might just barely open up the slit and have it spin twice. But for my decent sized pebbles, I'll keep it an opening kind of like that. And what I'll always do is test it before I put it on the aquarium. So just to test it, you just kind of get it started like this, and then it's starting to twist. Just put my hand out to catch the food. And there is the feed size. So this is pretty standard here for what I feed most of my tanks. Maybe not for Felix's tank because it's just her, but for my 110, for example, I would probably use 2 turns of this, and that would be plenty. For the smaller pebbles, you gotta be careful not to have too much come out. Remember, the whole goal of the auto feeder is to give them just enough food that they're gonna be healthy and be able to get by, but you don't wanna give too much food that's going to pollute the water and raise your nitrates and eventually could even kill your fish. All right, so the last piece of preparation I did before I left for break is I lowered the light intensity on my Fluval Aquasky lights. I like to lower the white spectrum significantly to keep the blue light up. This lowers the overall brightness to reduce algae buildup while I'm gone. The low intensity blue light still provides the fish with some light that they're used to in the everyday schedule. All right, that's it for preparation. We'll see you in 18 days.
I will see you there, or I will see you on another time.
1 semester later.
All right, so I made it back in the classroom and it looks like all the tanks are still up and running. Looks like all the water levels are pretty low due to the evaporation of me not being here for a few weeks. And then because of that, a lot of the power heads are spewing water, which is kind of that sound that you're hearing. It's like the yellow jack is still doing good, even though he's probably pretty annoyed by the power head. You can see that there's quite a bit of algae build up on the back glass there. I'll have to clean that up as I do the water change. Then we got the Mbuna. Looks like everyone's swimming around, colored up pretty good. Once again, the power head spewing some air bubbles there because the water level has dipped a little bit. I think it looks pretty clean though, so I'm pretty happy with that. Got a little bit of algae on the back. I really love this wave maker down low, even though it has to place some of the sand. I think that does a really good job of adding to the filtration, where you got the power head up top, coming down here, and then looping back around right into the filter intake. Moving on now to the 75 gallon. It's like Jack is pretty colored up, looking good. Sorry, I haven't seen you in a little bit, buddy. Once again, water level and power head not doing great. Got a little bit of algae to clean up. You can see the fog on that front glass panel there. So that'll be pretty simple to clean up. Moving on to the 110 gallon. This one, the water level isn't too bad. It hasn't dipped below the brim. I got my 2 power heads up here. Definitely helping with some water flow. Fish are looking good. You got Jack Jr. You got the mouth brooding Sebrum. Firemouth back there. And then your 4 silver dollars. So I do have some algae buildup on the decor a little bit, and then maybe a little bit on the back glass. Not as clear as I'd hope, but it's come to expect that if you haven't had a water change in a few weeks. Then moving on over here. All right, so Felix, the flower horn over here, her tank is quite filthy, it looks like, and the water level is really low. So we'll get that cleaned up and looking right. So last but not least is the 29 gallon here. It's just got some leftover community fish from some previous tanks and then some Amano shrimp. This one is really filthy, and I think I know why. As you can see, we have a makeshift power source going into this lab table instead of the outlet behind this tank. And that is due, unfortunately, to the fuse blue on this tank over break. Thankfully, a dean's assistant that is here over break Monday through Friday tends to check up on my tanks just to make sure the power is running and everything looks fine, and noticed that this power was out. So thank you, Patrick DC, for hooking up the extension cord here to make sure that these fish did not die of lack of oxygen. So yeah, this is just definitely a temporary fix, and definitely one of the biggest worries of when you leave your tank for a long time. All right, so I got a lot of work ahead of me. Got to get these tanks cleaned, looking right, get the water clarity a lot better, and the water parameters much more in check. So let's get to it.
2,000 years later.
So having the power go out on an aquarium is the quickest way to have a fish apocalypse on your hands. Without the filter, power heads, and bubblers creating surface agitation and water flow, the fish will run out of oxygen and die. In a perfect world, you would have a backup generator ready to take over the power production just in case a fuse blows or you lose power some other way. Luckily, my guy Pat was my boots on the ground and quickly fixed the problem. Shout out to Pat. Another cool piece of equipment that you can use to prevent this type of catastrophe from happening is to use the Cichlid Extreme STC wave pump. This wave maker has an app on your phone and will actually send you a notification if your aquarium loses power. There are also battery-powered bubblers that are a good option as a backup plan. So I hope this video was helpful for any of you that are leaving your aquariums for any extended period of time. Contrary to what some people might say in the hobby, cichlids and just fish in general are very hardy creatures and can withstand some pretty harsh environments. Just make sure you keep up on your water changes, you have the auto feeder set up, and you have any type of backup plan ready just in case the power might go out. If you have any questions, definitely just leave those in the comment section. I would love to help anyone out. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.